The strongest prison in the world is not made of iron bars. It is made of fear. Fear repeated so many times that it becomes identity. Fear whispered so often that a man begins to call it logic. And every day, millions of people wake up already defeated before their feet even touch the floor because their minds have accepted limitations their souls were never designed to carry. A weak mindset does not announce itself loudly. It disguises itself as comfort, as procrastination, as excuses that sound intelligent. It says, "Wait until the time is right." It says, "Maybe you are not talented enough." It says, "People like you do not become wealthy, powerful, extraordinary." And slowly, year after year, the fire inside a human being begins to dim. That is how dreams die, not in failure, not in poverty, not in rejection. Dreams die in hesitation. The moment a person stops believing they can rise beyond their current condition, they begin digging an invisible grave for their potential. Because whether you know it or not, your life is always moving in the direction of your strongest thoughts. Your mind is the architect. Your habits are the builders. Your actions are the foundation stones. And if the blueprint in your mind is weak, fearful, uncertain, and broken, then no amount of wishing will save the structure from collapse. You cannot rise with a weak mindset. You cannot build an empire while thinking like a victim. You cannot create abundance while feeding your mind with doubt. You cannot command respect while secretly questioning your own worth. The world bends toward people who believe they belong at the top. Look throughout history. The names remembered by time were not people born without fear. They were people who refused to bow to it. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before the light bulb illuminated the world, yet he never called himself a failure. Most people would have quit after 10 attempts. Weak minds see obstacles as signs to stop. Strong minds see obstacles as proof they are moving toward something meaningful. Henry Ford was mocked for imagining a world filled with automobiles. People laughed because the vision was bigger than their understanding. That is the curse of greatness. Ordinary minds will always attack extraordinary vision because what they cannot imagine, they instinctively resist. Walt Disney was once fired for lacking imagination. Imagine that. The man who created worlds beyond human fantasy was told he had no creativity. But a powerful mind does not let temporary opinions become permanent identity. That is the difference. A weak mindset absorbs rejection like poison. A powerful mindset transforms rejection into fuel. And somewhere deep inside you, there is a version of yourself waiting to be unleashed. A version untouched by fear, untouched by mediocrity, untouched by the opinions of people who settled for less in their own lives. But that version of you demands something difficult. It demands mental transformation, because success is never created outwardly before it is created inwardly. Every mansion, every movement, every fortune, every revolution first existed in the invisible world of thought. Before Carnegie built steel empires, he built certainty in his mind. Before Lincoln led a nation through darkness, he mastered the war within himself. Before any great achievement appeared in reality, it appeared in imagination. The mind always creates twice, first internally, then externally. That is why weak thinking produces weak results. If you wake up every day focused on problems, your mind will become a magnet for limitation. But when you train yourself to focus on opportunity, growth, discipline, and possibility, your entire nervous system begins aligning with power. Most people never realize how dangerous negative thinking truly is. They think thoughts are harmless because they cannot physically touch them. But thoughts become decisions. Decisions become habits. Habits become destiny. A man who constantly repeats, "I can't," will eventually live inside the prison of those words. Your mind listens to everything you tell it. When you call yourself average, your actions shrink to match. When you constantly focus on scarcity, you unconsciously sabotage abundance. When you fear failure more than you desire greatness, you remain frozen while life passes by. The battlefield has always been mental. Long before external defeat appears, internal defeat has already taken place. That is why discipline matters so much. Because discipline is not punishment. Discipline is the daily training of the mind to obey vision instead of emotion. Anyone can feel motivated for one day. Weak minds depend on feelings. Strong minds depend on standards. The future belongs to those who believe deeply, act boldly, endure pain gracefully, and refuse to surrender their vision regardless of circumstances. Your life changes the moment your standards change. The moment you demand more from yourself, everything begins shifting. You speak with more conviction. You move with more purpose. You protect your energy more carefully. You stop shrinking yourself to fit into rooms that were never designed for greatness. And suddenly, the same world that once felt heavy begins responding differently because you are no longer carrying the mentality that kept you weak. Never forget this. The human mind is one of the most powerful forces ever created. Entire civilizations were built from thought. Every invention, every masterpiece, every empire first existed inside someone's imagination before it existed in reality, which means the same power exists inside you, right now, waiting for you to stop doubting yourself, waiting for you to stop worshiping fear, waiting for you to stop settling for survival when you were created for expansion. You cannot rise with a weak mindset, but the moment your mind becomes stronger than your excuses, stronger than your fear, stronger than your past, there is no force on earth that can permanently hold you down. Because a disciplined mind becomes dangerous, a focused mind becomes unstoppable, and a person who finally believes in their own potential becomes a force that changes not only their own life, but the lives of everyone around them. The war was never outside of you, it was always within. And the moment you conquer your mind, you conquer your life.